A warm welcome to you all. In this explainer, we're going to journey through a really powerful story from the Quran. It's a single narrative that actually holds two very different messages, one of just incredible mercy and another of absolute unwavering justice. So let's get into it.
All right, so let's dive right in. The story kicks off with a visit. The prophet Abraham receives some guests, and his immediate response? It's one of pure peace and hospitality. But here's the thing. These aren't just any travelers who are passing through. No, they are on a divine mission. You can think of this narrative as a two-part journey. These messengers, they first visit Abraham to deliver a message of just profound mercy. But then they travel to his nephew, the prophet Lot, and that's where their mission takes a very, very different and much more serious turn. So first up, we have Abraham. The way he interacts with these divine messengers, it's really presented as a masterclass in prophetic character. I mean, it is a powerful display of humility, of reverence, and just this unwavering faith. Now, this is really beautiful. Classical commentaries use this specific Arabic phrase to describe Abraham's actions here. It translates to lowered his wing of humility. That goes so far beyond just being a good host, you know? It captures this deep spiritual reverence he has for his guests. And this is before he even knows who they really are. So it's not long before we find out these guests are actually angels, and they are carrying some truly incredible news. They've come to announce that Abraham and his wife Sarah, despite being very old, are going to be blessed with a son. And this isn't just a promise of a child, it's a promise that seems to defy all the laws of nature. And Sarah's reaction, it's just so perfectly human. You could almost hear the complete and utter astonishment in her voice. The story really highlights this moment because it shows how miracles directly challenge our everyday understanding of what is and isn't possible. It's a moment of pure, understandable shock. And this really illustrates the core tension beautifully. From a human perspective, her doubt is completely logical. Of course it is. But the angels respond by reminding her that the divine perspective, well, it operates on a totally different level. God's actions aren't random. They're guided by perfect wisdom, or hakim, in this all-encompassing knowledge, alim, and that transcends any physical limits we think we see. Okay, now the story takes a really sharp turn. The messengers travel to the city of the prophet Lot, and the entire atmosphere just shifts dramatically. We go from hope and miracles to this feeling of dread and impending doom. So when Lot sees these beautiful strangers arriving in his city, his first reaction isn't joy, it's actually fear. He's not worried about them, he's worried for them. He knows the deep, deep corruption and immorality of his people, and he is terrified for his guests' safety. I mean, the contrast here could not be more stark. Where Abraham offered peace and humility, the people of Lot's city meet these same messengers with nothing but hostility and aggression. It's a clear line being drawn in the sand between righteousness and transgression, and it's setting the stage for everything that's about to happen. Seeing how distressed he is, the messengers finally reveal who they are. They offer Lot a promise of safety and salvation for him and his followers. But this comfort comes with a really painful catch. His own wife will not be saved. And this moment right here reveals a very powerful lesson about individual responsibility. The story is crystal clear. Simply being related to a prophet, even being his wife, is not enough to save you. Salvation is tied to your own personal faith and your own righteous actions. So now the story builds to its climax. The angels reveal the second and final part of their mission, to carry out a divine judgment upon the people of Lot for their persistent corruption. And just notice the precision in these words. The judgment isn't just coming, it has an appointment. The classical commentaries point out that this specific timing, the morning, is meant to reinforce the absolute certainty and control of this divine decree. It's going to happen exactly as planned. The Quran describes this justice not as some chaotic natural disaster, but as a very deliberate and precise act. The land itself is turned upside down, and then a rain of specially marked stones falls upon them. Every single detail suggests a measured, specific consequence, not just a random catastrophe.
This brings us to a really important concept: moral causality. The idea here is that the city's destruction wasn't some arbitrary punishment. Instead, it was the direct, logical, and really the inevitable result of the people's own persistent choices and actions. The Quran itself has a powerful way of putting it. They wronged themselves.
But the story doesn't just end with destruction. The Quran is very clear that this entire event has a lasting purpose, a message that's meant to extend far beyond that specific time and that specific place.
So why did all this happen? Well, the final verses of the story are very clear about this. The physical ruins of that destroyed land were intentionally left behind, and it was all for one singular and absolutely critical reason. The ruins are meant to be a sign. They're not there for tourism or just idle curiosity, but as a tangible historical marker for all future generations to reflect upon. It's a lesson from history about the real-world consequences of our moral choices.
And that right there brings us to the final, and I think the most profound question. This story, with its powerful themes of both mercy and justice, it isn't just about the past. It's a challenge to us, right here, right now. If history truly leaves these signs behind for those of us who are willing to reflect, what are the lessons that we are meant to see in our world today?